Are you a successful entrepreneur or one in training? You've got the vision, but do you have the right partner to build your brand, your team, and your future online and off? At cprfirm.com, we offer expert consulting, financial guidance, and life coaching because we believe in doing life with our clients. After all, what is it for a man to gain the world and lose his soul? Founded by Callan Cash Coleman, we help our clients not only succeed, but plan to retire rich. Your business deserves the best. Start building your legacy today at cprfirm.com.
Finding the right real estate professional can be challenging. I'm broker Melissa Wilson. I'm knowledgeable in all aspects of the real estate process. So whether you're looking to buy new or an existing home or have a commercial need, I'm here to help.
Make sure you pick up my two books that's in Amazon right now. The first one is Passive Aggressive Racism, the System of White Supremacy. And I talk about in that particular book how the system of white supremacy really runs and on our daily lives here in America. In our latest book, 7 Steps to Decolonize the Mind, we go through those steps to try to deprogram you from the system of white supremacy. Make sure you can pick up those books on Amazon.com.
I used to work almost 14 hours a day. Every day he was sending me money for lunch.
Every day as when you go to work?
Exactly. Every day when I go to work.
But did you not feel creepy? Wait, of course he was giving you money all the time. But did you knew that he could actually afford you to such extent?
I never really let my mom see that I was dating someone who was giving me money, whatever. Fortunately, I was like, okay, fine. I don't feel like it's gonna work for me in the office because I see there's money, like a lot of money, and it's not mine.
Did you feel like you were gonna end up stealing it?
I did a little bit.
Watch Slay Queen only on the African Diaspora News Channel app.
From November 14th to 21st, we're inviting you to join us for a powerful trip to Ghana. A key location in the history of the transatlantic slave trade and the story of our foundational Black American ancestors. This isn't just a vacation. This is a chance to walk through the same places where many of our people were captured, held, and shipped off into slavery. We'll visit historic sites like Elmina Castle and Cape Coast, where you'll see with your own eyes what our ancestors endured. You'll also experience modern Ghana, the culture, the people, the food, and the history they carry, giving you a broader understanding of how our story intersects with theirs. If you've ever wanted to deepen your understanding of our history, this is your opportunity. There are 25 spots available, and once those spots are gone, that's it. So don't wait. Secure your spot today by paying a deposit and be part of this unforgettable journey. We're making history by walking through it. Will you be with us?
What if I told you there's a news platform made just for us? Unfiltered, unapologetic, telling our stories from Africa and the diaspora. The African Diaspora News Channel app keeps you informed and empowered from wherever you are at any time. Don't just watch, join the movement. Download the app now and stay connected to the news that matters.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for joining us on the stream this Monday. It is June the 9th. I'm glad that y'all are here with us, and we're going to have a good conversation today. We're going to be dropping a lot of receipts today, and I'm just glad you're here with us, ladies and gentlemen. I definitely want to give a shout out to INX Prime. They conducted an interview with me today in South Africa. And I, definitely want to shout out to all the African networks that have invited me on. And I've talked about this before. African networks have invited me on, do interviews, all kind of things. But here, that don't happen. So I always tell y'all say, well, why you be talking about this and that going on with Africa? Like, Africa give me a lot of love, man. I mean, a lot of African countries give me love. You know what I'm saying? In America, they threatened by me here. You know what I'm saying? I'm not Democrat. I'm not Republican. I call out either side. Don't care. We too liberated and free over here. And that's fine. They view us as a competition and a threat. That's beautiful. So, I prefer actually to spread our wings globally anyway. So, shout out to everybody on, all over the world. Now, next thing, the Ghana trip. We got now 15 spots left. Someone signed up over the weekend, so we got about 15 spots left. Make sure you sign up. They have the pinned comment in the chat right now. It's a $199 down. And secure your spot, because I don't want y'all to come at the end talking about, hey, man, can I go? Like, just put down your deposit, then you can make your payments, and then you can come on with us. Let me tell you some more information about that. So, and this happened more than once, actually. Love connections be happening on these tours as well. I've seen it where people that went on the tour end up meeting each other and develop relationships. I'm talking about within, the brothers and sisters that come. I've also seen people meet, what I've heard, recently, that some of the brothers that came on the recent Ethiopia trip and met, some ladies and they got into some, relationships. And hey, that's happening. Now, on the Ghana trip, it's coming up. The same thing can happen. You can probably meet somebody that's coming with you, or you can meet somebody while you're there. You never know. I mean, if you're single, you're open, right? So anything can happen on these trips, especially a love connection. So then also there's a lot of FBAs actually in Ghana. So you never know. You may hook up with one of them. I don't know. So it's definitely a lot more positive that's happening on these trips than negative. Also, make sure, I want to say this, take advantage of the promo that we have right now for the app, ladies and gentlemen, where if you are to celebrate Emancipation Month, Juneteenth is coming up, June 19th. If you select an annual plan on the app, a last sale of the year, annual plan, and at checkout, use the promo code FREEDOM, at checkout, then you would get 19% off of the annual membership, only on annual only. So make sure to take advantage. Hey, 10 people, do that tonight while we're streaming. That way you can join us in what we're doing on the app, and we greatly appreciate you to do that. Take advantage. 'Cause a lot of people took advantage a few months ago, but this is the last one of the year, so take advantage, ladies and gentlemen. We got a revamp coming for Slay Queen, and we're going to be launching 2 different ones now. We're going to have Slay Queen Nigeria, and we're going to have, of course, continuing Slay Queen South Africa. So we expanding Slay Queen on the continent, that show. So that's only exclusive to the app, and also we got more shows coming down the pipe. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to what we came here for, ladies and gentlemen, because we got to talk about why FBAs in Los Angeles have plenty of reasons why they aren't getting involved with the ICE protests. You know, we've been seeing a lot of videos, a lot of videos. People saying, you know, hey, y'all, FBAs, you know, Mexico helped y'all back in slavery hundreds of years ago. Well, they were letting slaves go to Mexico. Let me tell you something. That's not really hitting very well. And let me tell you why. You can't use something from 100 years ago to try to guilt trip us. Can you use something from last year, this year? I'll even give you an expansion. What about 5 years ago? What about 10 years ago? What about 20 years ago? What about in the 21st century, starting from the 2000? Have you done something for us like equal to that in 25 years? I'm giving you that far back, 25 years. And you know the answer to that question. We know the answer to that question. This is why you're using that. The second thing they're trying to use, we came out there doing a protest with George Floyd. Did you see us online asking y'all to come out or anybody to come out with George Floyd? Remember, I was doing my platform at the time. None of us requested no help or no backup. Y'all came out there on your own validity. We didn't ask you. Every time we do something, we already know we on our own. And then when people do come out, y'all come out there looting when we not even trying to loot. You come out there doing the most or whatever, trying to get attention for yourself. And y'all could do all this looting and then we get blamed for it. That's why I'm so glad FBAs aren't out there right now. Because I saw y'all looting the AM/PM. What the people at the AM/PM did to y'all. Y'all going there looting the AM/PM. I saw the East Indian man to stand there like dumbfounded, like, man, what I'm going to do? You know, like, y'all looting the man business. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't none of us doing it. And I'm proud of black people. It was none of you out there doing it. None of you taking advantage. Because the moment we show up on the scene, they're going to take the eyes off of them and focus solely on us. So we are doing good by keeping our happy self at home. Now, we're going to run through a series of videos and news articles to give you some reasons why FBAs are at their homes. And they have good reason to be at home. And when y'all see all of this, I want y'all to remember what you're going to see. Now, let's start off with Exhibit A. Back in 2018, Sister Shirley Hussar, may she rest in power, she's not with us anymore. She invited me to go to the Taste of Soul while I was out there in Politicon. I've never been there before. I wasn't too familiar with Los Angeles and the relations with black people and Mexicans in particular. My experience prior to that, I didn't have any issues with Mexicans at all down here where I live in Texas. Work with them, you know, been to their houses, they invite us, they come to our houses, barbecue, whatever. Never really been issues and problems. You know, I've talked to brothers and sisters and I've been out there on the East Coast, never really had issues and problems like that. But in 2018, I was informed, they said, hey, bro, nah, they don't like us out here like that. They on something different. I said, really? I just never knew that. So this one brother I'm about to play for you was one of the brothers that got me to go down the path of starting to investigate at the time. Let me play this video from 2018 at the Taste of Soul, and I want you to hear what this brother was saying back then. Let's go ahead and cue up the first video, ladies and gentlemen.
Whole race of people here, Hispanic people, just claiming that they're the hardest working people that there is. If you're so hard working, why Mexico so? I got issues with that. I got issues with a lot of things. You got T-Mobile, Sprint, Verizon, Wells Fargo, Starbucks. You got CVS, Rite Aid, Walgreens, all Hispanic staffs right here in LA. Nobody stand up to fight against them. Why is that?
Well, let me ask you a question. Why is it that you think they're hiring them over African Americans?
Racism.
So they're coming. You say they're coming in with a racist attitude and hiring nothing but their people group and want to cut out African Americans. So how can we counter that?
Well, first off, to counter that, you would be able to contact ICE, NSA, whoever you need to contact, to let them know that you have illegal immigrants working in facilities. They have made that so hard to do here. You can't just call, you can't just go online because they want too much information for that illegal immigrant, which is, it makes no sense. You should be able to call and say, hey, look, this business has illegal immigrants working here. You have illegal immigrants living above this business, living in the back of this business. You're unable to do that because they've made it hard for anybody to report illegal immigrants.
So based on what I researched, a lot of research, the majority of the illegal immigrants are coming from Central America, you know, like your El Salvador's, your Nicaragua. You got, you know, some coming from Honduras right now, and they're trying to, you know, come into the country. Why is it you feel they're leaving their countries and feel that it's okay to come here and make a better living?
Because Hispanics had told them, hey, come here. We can hook you up with jobs. It's just as simple as that. You have in California, you have a huge population of homeless Americans. These are American citizens living on the streets. You don't see any illegal immigrants living on the streets because they're housed.
And I saw a lot of black people on the street, and I was like, it quite shocked me.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's millions of American citizens living on the streets in California, whereas illegal immigrants come here and instantly get hooked up with a job.
All right, so you heard our brother. Now, that's back in 2018, right? And just to get an earful from that brother, how it is for black people out there, I was like, wow, man. I said, that is so, yeah, I was kind of shaking my head about that. So I started looking more and more, you know, into it, start talking more and more to y'all. Y'all come talk to me like on these live streams and things like that. It made me start doing a whole lot more research. And then just even for this video, that's just one video, right? And we can go along off of what this man said, how they gatekeep jobs, how they sabotage. Now, I've seen this happen, though, how they'll sit up here and try to sabotage black and white people. Because white people, I'm going to get on you, too. They sabotage black and white people on jobs, get black and white people fired on jobs, and then you will see their cousins, their uncles, their brothers, their sisters, and everybody on the job got fired because they didn't try to get you out of there, and their whole family is there. And don't let one of them get to become a supervisor. I've seen that. I've seen it. And now you have black men and white men, working class white men, who can't even get certain jobs anymore because that's the play now. Of course, the corporations has a lot to do with it, but that's the play. So when you have working class black men and working class white men seeing the play, because see, at first it was just happening to us, but now it's happening to white men. And now they're like, oh, hell no, they got to go. And unfortunately, that's how it is. They got to wait till it happened to them. Then now they're ready for people to start moving around. But when we were saying it, our people were saying that, hey, this been going on a long time. It probably would never touch white men like that, but like it's touching them now. Now, let's get on to something else. What's happening to black folks? What was happening to black folks in Los Angeles, California? Now, I know I've heard the relationship between blacks and Mexicans in Northern California is a little different, so I'm not focusing on that. But I'm only focusing on L.A., Southern California, why black people have no reason to come out. Now, I want you to listen to this brother out of L.A. Listen to this.
Padrinos, we had a rumble with them, catching fades in there. Obviously, in the county jail, it's still like that, but I just remember even sometimes I had a little job, square job, late at night, I'm getting home off the bus. Mexicans on the bus, they ride the whole bus with me the whole time. The stop before I get off, they out there, they get off the stop before I get off, they chase me down, knives out. It's just always been with them. They always been, they out here, they write crabs. That's what they write. It's like a racist gang. They like skinheads. That's how it is to me. They put that on the side of black churches to be disrespectful. Chase black girls home just because they black.
Do you think it's really about Mexicans don't hate, that Mexicans hate blacks, or is it more, this is a Longos Crip thing?
I think it's Mexicans hate black, because if you come out here cripping from if you come out here blooding, they not gonna be your friend. If you walk through their liquor store, they gonna hit you up. If you say any type of crib, they gonna be on your head, but I think it's more so of a black thing.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is, now you heard what that brother had to say, that he was chased by them. He didn't do anything to him. He said he was working a regular job, because they call it square out there. But he was working a job, right, trying to earn a living, and he had to run for his life with these dudes chasing him down, and he said it's based on race. It's not that it's some street business. It's not some street politics. It's based on race. You heard them say they are chasing down black women, black girls as well. So let me ask y'all a question. Who keep making videos at black people, talking about George Floyd? Why should black people come out there and help you? A lot of black people in LA right now, they won't tell you, but I'm going to tell you. They are celebrating ICE coming in there right now. They're celebrating it because they're like, oh, now you get your just due. All this mess you've been doing to black people, and I'm not done. I'm not done. You think I'm done? I'm not done just giving receipts. Brothers can't get jobs. Sisters can't get jobs. You're gatekeeping them. You fix them where if they don't speak Spanish, they can't even get a job. This is the United States of America. English is the only language you need to speak to get any kind of job. And what I would tell anybody, if they tell you can't get a job because you don't speak English, you need to sue under discrimination. And definitely with this administration, you probably can get to the Civil Rights Division real quick on that one. That's what I would do. If they told me I couldn't get a job because I don't speak Spanish, I'm suing. I'm going to the Civil Rights Division, the DOJ, and say, no, this is an English-speaking country. You can't tell me I can't get a job because I don't speak a foreign language. Now, you could tell me that if I go to your homeland, that's different. But here, no. So this has happened to many black people. This same story this brother has talked about, right? And people that hear this stuff and maybe had the experiences, you expect them to come out there and have any kind of sympathy for any of you. Then you frame it, oh, well, ICE is just going mess with people that's just working. They're not committing no crimes. They're not doing this. They're not doing that. But you broke the law by coming in. It don't matter if you just working a job. If you break the law, you broke the law. Every country has immigration laws. Why is it that the United States of America immigration law has to be a joke? And it is a joke because of the freaking Democrat Party with this open border crap, and these people have gotten entitled. They're fighting more to stay here than, listen, all that fighting you doing against ICE and the federal government, where's that fight in your homeland, bruh? Why you didn't fight your government? Why you didn't fight them? Like you're trying to fight us. You're fighting our government. You're fighting ICE. You're fighting everybody to stay here while you trample the American flag, while you burn the American flag, while you wave the foreign flags, Mexico flag in particular. You waving all of that. If you love the country, go fight the same way over there. Make your country great. I support you. Like this is why people are not supporting you. Your optics is wrong. Your motivation is wrong. It's not based in righteousness. It's not. See, when black people go out and fight, notice our fight is always based in something righteous. Let's go back to George Floyd. George Floyd's civil rights and human rights were violated that day with that knee on his neck and him dying in that manner. That's what set people off. Not that George Floyd wouldn't rob somebody and because the police are arresting George Floyd, we're going to go tear up the city. No. If George Floyd did something that took him to jail like normal, nobody going to say nothing. But y'all literally fighting for people who broke the law. You want to tear up an American city and you don't even like America. You don't like America. You don't. All you want to do is take from America. Because if you loved America, you would do it. You would follow the laws. And then this is the thing. They still not being heavy-handed with y'all yet. Not yet. It's coming. I see it coming if you keep pushing it. But they're still not being heavy-handed. Because the majority of the police, LAPD, is their community. So they're holding back off of them. That's why Trump's sending all these, I heard you send the Marines now. Then Trump come out and said that if y'all spit, we hit. That's something he said now. That you spit on anybody, he tell them to just get at you. Knock the fire out of you, right? So in just those two videos alone, why would any black person come out and assist? Why? The LAPD ain't been doing anything about you. But they've been harassing black people. Whole white supremacist gangs out there. Right? Now, yeah, they ain't brought out the dogs. They haven't brought out the water hoses. They ain't brought out nothing on them, right? But when it was to us, it was water hoses and dogs and tanks. Let's get to another video here I want to show y'all, right? Them speaking on our reparations. I want you to hear this.
You better turn your radio back.
What do you think about these Black Lives Matter that they want to be paid for being slaves and all
reparations?
That? Yeah, there.
Are you talking about reparations? Well, I heard they passed in North Carolina.
Yes.
But it was a small little town in North Carolina that passed reparations for whoever's over there. I'm sure they'll try to do something out here in California. I think they already actually got a little board going that they're going to start looking into it. So
yeah, and that's when we, the Raza, need to step up, protest, and I'm talking major, and turn around and tell them, no. Nobody getting reparations until the Native Americans and the Mexicans get ours first. We've been going through this crap a lot longer, so I don't want to hear it. Because it's not fair, dog. How are you going to give a bunch of money to a specific group, dog? This is the United States, a melting pot. How are you going to give it to a specific group?
Because right now they've got the white people with so much guilt. It was your parents. And it goes back to this. That would be like me going back and talking about, hey, fool, you bust for my homie. You told me, hey, but then...
No, that wouldn't even be like that.
That's
not even close.
Why?
It'd be like, hey, fool, your great-great-great-grandfather busted on my great-great-great-grandmother.
But that's what I'm getting at with that. Our stuff with our war wasn't that long ago. So if they can bring something up from 200 years ago, shit, this should be worse.
And in California, when you had the California Reparations Commission, they were the community that was against it, along with the Asians too. You know, of course, we know the white folks will be against it, but they were some of the main people that was against reparations. They don't want black people to get reparations at all. But we supposed to come out as a community in California to assist them with breaking federal law. That's what we supposed to get out there and do, right? So we can't get jobs because you're undermining us and undercutting us and sabotaging us from getting jobs in L.A. or L.A. County or anywhere in those areas. Then your domestic terrorists who's in gangs are running around attacking people who aren't even in that life, right? You're chasing people down. You're doing all kind of things. And when it comes to those gangs, I think President Trump should label them domestic terrorist organizations and go after them just for being in them. Go pick them all up and go throw them in the deepest, darkest federal prison that you got. Now, I'm going to show you why I feel that way. Let me go to an article from the LA Times. Let me get this article up on the screen so y'all can kind of see this here. Boom. All right. So this from the LA Times. This is written July 7th, 2016. Ladies and gentlemen, look at the headline. Latino gang members firebomb black residents to drive them out of Boyle Heights project, prosecutors allege. So you mean to tell me FBAs supposed to go join with y'all after y'all were firebombing black people? That's what black people are supposed to. Okay, so let's do a recap. Can't get a job, being sabotaged, say you can't speak Spanish to get a job, all of that. That's just number one. Chasing people down, beating people up. People can't even go work a job. You're messing with them or whatever in your domestic terrorist organizations. That's what they are to me, domestic terrorist organizations. Then your domestic terrorist organizations are firebombing people to try to get people out based on race. Okay? So let me go ahead and get this off the screen. Right? So that's just so do you think FBA should come out there and help y'all? All y'all making these videos? Let's get into it. It says 7 Latino gang members have been charged with firebombing the homes of black families living in a Boyle Heights housing project. An attack that federal prosecutors allege was designed to drive African Americans out the neighborhood. So they basically was doing some ethnic cleansing, okay? Ethnic cleansing. All right. A federal indictment unsealed Thursday describes how the gang members allegedly planned to carry out the May 12, 2014 attack which came at the time when black families were increasingly moving back into the Ramona Gardens public housing complex after previous violence that prompted most African Americans to flee. Prosecutors alleged that the men broke the apartment windows before hurling Molotov cocktails, ladies and gentlemen, inside, a move to maximize damage, and struck homes where families, including little black children, ladies and gentlemen, were inside. 3 of the 4 apartments were occupied by black families. So FBAs supposed to go out there and protest ICE? When FBAs were getting Molotov cocktails thrown in their homes and they wouldn't bother nobody? They say this crime was particularly heinous because they attacked people's homes where children were sleeping. And that's an Eileen Decker. She was U.S. Attorney for the Central District of California. So the fact that the children were endangered made this a particularly disturbing type of crime. Okay? And so the charges, are the latest in several criminal accusations over the last 2 decades, 20 years, against Latino street gangs that use violence to push rival black gangs out of a certain neighborhood. A few years ago, federal prosecutors charged members of a Latino gang with a campaign to push blacks out of the unincorporated Florence Firestone neighborhood that allegedly resulted in 20 homicides over 3 years. In the Harbor Gateway District of L.A., a Latino gang was accused of targeting African Americans, including 14-year-old Cheryl Green, whose death became a rallying point against such attacks. A member of the Avenues, a Latino gang in the Highland Park, were convicted of a series of assaults and killings in the early 1990s. And the Democrat Party allowed black people to be targeted in that manner. And y'all tell me, why are you talking about the Democrats, Phillip? Why you always talk about them? Because California is a Democrat supermajority, and they allow these people to do this. Unchecked immigration and attack black people and using them to ethnically cleanse the black people out of California. In the Ramona Garden case, prosecutors described the defendants as members of the Big Hazard Street gang, an East Side gang that dates back to the 1940s. The charges include conspiring to violate civil rights, interfering with housing rights, committing violent crime to aid racketeering, and use fire and carrying explosives to commit a federal felony. And my issues with black folks with this is that if these were white people doing this mess, it would have been a problem. How y'all sit here and let them get away with this without this becoming a problem? Now, for more than a generation, keeping blacks out of the housing complex seemed a point of pride for Big Hazard. On August 30th, 1992, explosion ripped through the pantry of a Ramona Gardens apartment where a black couple and their 7 children live. When they ran outside, they realized that another black family across the street had been attacked just minutes earlier. At the time, only 7 black families lived in the project, but after the attack, they began to quickly pack up and leave. And that's why black folks aren't in L.A. They have been ethnically cleansed out, and LAPD let it happen. They let it happen. And yet black folks is supposed to go out there, and this is supposed to be the surveillance video. Let's go ahead and play that real quick. Let's see where this is at. Hold on, let me see if I can fast forward a little bit. Okay, fast forward right here. You see all that? What they had going on? But black people supposed to come out and protest for y'all. But when y'all run around here firebombing black people and running them out of neighborhoods, and you wondering why black people not in California, LA like that no more. You wonder why? Because the Democrats allowed them to do this. Okay? Eventually black families started moving back to Ramona Gardens, a sign of progress in the community and the city that had largely put aside the violence of the 1990s. But even then, a gang said no longer hold the sway that it once did to try to intimidate black residents into leaving. Some threats were verbal. Others came in the form of slurs, like the one written in the dust accumulated on the car of one black resident. So calling black people slurs. In one case, a rock was flung through a window. So black people supposed to go out and protest against ICE. Do you see why black people are saying, no, ICE, come on down here to LA. We need you here. Do you understand why in Chicago too? Why they saying, ICE, come on down here. Tom Homan, we want you here. Do you see why? But you try to claim that you're innocent victims and they just targeting you. No. You have done some terrorism to black people. Now, of course, they still things seem to be improving until 2 years ago when Molotov cocktails used to throw at 4 apartments around Ramona Garden. Police said they strongly suspected the attacks were racially motivated. At least one resident said at the time that she would ask for an emergency transfer out of the complex, that she noted that things had been calm until the fiery attack. Others insisted they would stay. Okay, now they talk about the indictment, and yes, let me get you the update on that. So they say the East LA gang, this is from the Department of Justice Archives, okay? So they say East LA gang members who led firebombing of African-American residents is sentenced to 16 years in federal prison. So they talk about the Big Hazard gang. You say it was sentenced today to 192 months in federal prison for orchestrating and executing the nighttime firebombing of African-American families at the Ramona Gardens housing development in Boyle Heights in 2014 in order to force the residents out of their homes. Now, this Carlos Hernandez, 36 years old, known as Ryder or Creeper, was sentenced. Of course, the judge had gave him and say what she had to say. But I just want y'all to see here. Now, we not done. We not done. This is the Southern Poverty Law Center right here, okay? This is another thing. Latino gang members in Southern California are terrorizing and killing blacks. Now, say acting on orders from the Mexican mafia, Latino gang members in Southern California are terrorizing and killing blacks. Now, say here, ascending the steep steps, it said that led to the scene of her son's murder. 47-year-old Louisa Prudhomme is charged, it said, by a Doberman Pinscher. It said Prudhomme reached over a gate and gives the guard dog a rough pat on the head. It said Sam doesn't seem to remember me, she says. What Prudhomme will never forget is in the past, the snarling Doberman in the apartment on a hill where 6 years ago, her 21-year-old son Anthony was shot in the face with a .25 caliber semi-automatic while laying on a futon she had purchased for him from IKEA. He died wearing a shirt that read, "Kept the peace." Now, Anthony Prudhomme was slain by members of the Avenues, a Latino street gang, but he was not a rival gang member or a police informant or a drug dealer. He was just an innocent little brother. The Avenues did not target him for the content of his character or even contents of his apartment. They targeted him for the color of his skin. Let me get back on camera here for a minute so y'all can see my face here. So FBAs is supposed to go out against ICE right now. They supposed to come out against the National Guard and the Marines. And this is what y'all been doing? And I know what some of you gonna say, well, that's the gang members. That's not all of us. You didn't say nothing. So you take on all the responsibility of what they've been doing. I ain't got nothing to do with it. I just want to work. No. You take on the responsibility of that. That falls upon your community. It don't matter if you had nothing to do with it. It falls on your community because you didn't say nothing. You didn't have an outcry, outrage, anything. You know good and well some of your family members was part of these gangs, and you didn't say nothing. But we supposed to come out of our homes and go face the federal government, not the Marines that showed up. So we supposed to come face the Marines, we supposed to face the National Guard, and supposed to face ICE. For what? You were firebombing us. You were killing our kids. You harassing. The federal government been locking y'all up in some of the cases. This is why FBAs are saying we good. We are not getting... I better not see a single FBA outside their house. And all this stuff been happening to black people. Can't get a job because you don't speak a foreign language. If you want to learn a language, that's your business. Learn it. But you shouldn't be forced to in the United States of America to get a doggone job. I'm just keeping it 100. Shall we continue here? Let's get back here. Hold on. I'm looking at the time here. I know I got a time limit. Now, I say Prudhomme was murdered because he identified himself as black. He was in fact mixed race. I say in the neighborhood occupied by one of the many Latino street gangs. Let's say in Los Angeles County. Incredibly, even though these gangs are fundamentally criminal enterprises, interested mainly in money, gang experts inside and outside the government, so they are now engaged in a campaign of ethnic cleansing, racial terror that's directed solely at African Americans. And you wonder why right now we have made sure to delineate from everybody and made sure to circle the wagons around ourselves. because these other groups have been sitting up here ethnically cleansing FBAs out of Los Angeles and Los Angeles County. Compton is not what Compton was in the 80s and 90s. When people hear Compton, they thinking that? No. Black people have been ran out of Compton. Now, I say the way I hear these knuckleheads tell it, they don't want their neighborhoods infested with blacks, as if it's an infestation, says a respected Los Angeles gang expert, Tony Raphael, who interviewed several Latino street gang leaders for an upcoming book on the Mexican Mafia, the dominant Latino gang in Southern California. It's pure racial animosity that manifests itself in a policy of a major criminal organization. And the Democrats did nothing but let it happen. And y'all sit up here, got the nerves to tell me something about the Democrat Party? Why I'm always on their butt? Why I don't criticize the Republicans? I live in a Republican state. I ain't see this happen. I ain't see the Republicans let this happen to black folk here in Texas. There's absolutely no motive. It's absent the color of their skin. As former Los Angeles County Deputy District Attorney Michael Camacho said, before he became a judge in 2003, Camacho successfully prosecuted a Latino gang member for the random shootings of 3 black men in Pomona, California. They generally don't like African Americans. Pomona Gang Unit Officer Marcus Perez testified in that case. If an African American enters a neighborhood, they're likely to be injured or killed. But we supposed to go out right now with ICE and face ICE and the federal government and risk federal charges, because anything you do against a federal agent, oh, y'all looking at some football numbers for real. But they'll find out the hard way later. They find out. Now, a comprehensive study of hate crimes in L.A. County released by the University of Hawaii in 2000 included that while the vast majority of hate crimes nationwide are not committed by members of organized groups, Los Angeles County is a different story. Researchers found that in the areas with high concentration or clusters of hate crimes, the perpetrators were typically members of Latino street gangs who was purposely targeting blacks. This is coming from the Southern Poverty Law Center, y'all. Furthermore, the study found there's a strong evidence of race-biased hate crimes among gangs in which a major motive is not the defense of territorial boundaries against other gangs, but hatred toward a group defined by racial identification, regardless of any gang-related territorial threat. And it says 6 years later, the racist terror campaign continues. Okay? So, I'm looking at my time. Let me see if I can just hurry up and get to something else. This is another one here. Racism role in L.A. gang case rekindled. I think that's the one about Hawaiian Gardens. And I don't know if I should just maybe start picking. You know what? Let me pick up from that tomorrow because I'm going to run out of time and I want to make sure to give the right time to this. So we'll pick up from that tomorrow because we got a lot more to cover. But let me say this. Just a little bit that you saw. Just that little bit. We supposed to come out there. Y'all better not send no TikTok to black people. You need to answer for this. You need to answer for this ethnic cleansing against black Americans in L.A., in L.A. County. You come over here to this country off of the backs and the deaths of black people to get civil rights and even human rights. And then when you get over here, this is how you repay black people in L.A., in L.A. County. This is how you repay them. And once again, I'm not saying all people in California is that way, because I said it in the beginning. In Northern California, he has a different relationship with blacks and Mexicans up there. That's from what I hear and talk to black people, okay? But we talking about specifically Los Angeles, Southern California, Los Angeles County. And the Democrat Party allowed this mess to happen to black people. And y'all want to talk about voting for them? The Democrats was okay with open borders because you know how sinister, you know what I'm thinking? The Democrats had open border policies to bring them over to ethnically cleanse black people. It was the Democrats, that was their exterminators. The Democrat Party wants us exterminated. And this is why, for me, I can't vote for a Democrat. I said it out. I just can't do it. These people have done way too much to my people. Way too much. I can't. No. The more and more you get deeper into California politics, and don't even start talking about the jail stuff. In the jail, they side with the Aryan Brotherhood. They side with the white supremacists against black people in prison, in California prison. You know that? But we supposed to, as FBA, we supposed to get up out of our homes and go face the federal government. And you're fighting the federal government because you don't want to go back to a place that you're swinging a flag of. What kind of... that is the craziest thing I ever heard in my life. You swinging a flag of a different country, stomping on the flag of this country, but you're fighting our government not to go back to the place you so-called love. And when you are here, you're being domestic terrorists. The only thing I say, hey, President Trump, label them people domestic terrorists and just go scoop them all up. That's how you have to do it at this point. Just get all their gangs, call them terror groups, and scoop them up, put them in. You say you're trying to reopen Alcatraz, send them over there. Don't deport them, send them to Alcatraz. You say you're trying to open that back up, put them over there. Let me see what Prime One had to say here. He said ICE neither comes to Port Arthur, Orange, Beaumont, Austin, Dallas, Taylor, San Antonio, Waco, the entire Texas region. But let me tell you the difference with Texas versus California. Greg Abbott and the and Texas Department of Public Safety, they will assist ICE. A lot of your local police departments here is going to assist ICE. It's not going to be, we ain't going to do nothing. They ain't going, not here in Texas. Florida, same thing. Now, what's going on in Port Arthur? I hear y'all talking about Port Arthur. What's going on there? Because that's my hometown. I haven't really heard a whole lot going on with them. I'm not saying they're not there, but you know, Texas is a little different entity. Now, around the border area, those counties, Hidalgo County, you know, what's the other county? Is it Brownsville County? All the little counties down there, it's mostly dominated Hispanic down there. And like I say, I've been there to those places, and I never felt like, ooh, man, I better get away from here. You know, I've never felt that being down there. Because, you know, if I feel something, I move around. I'm like, okay, shoot, especially you ain't got no tool with you at the time or whatever. But yeah, out there, I've been to L.A. Yeah, the temperature's different. It's way different with them out there. I can just tell the energy was different. And, you know, a lot of our people left and went to Vegas, some of them. Some of them come to Texas. Some of them say, I'm going back south. Because at least I always tell black people, you know, the South is where it's at anyway. The South is your ancestral homeland anyway, and we'd love to have you. You know, I always tell my brothers and sisters, come on back home to the South. You know, Chicago, places like that. Now, we need to hold the ground in Chicago. That's for sure. You know, and they got problems up there in Chicago, too. That's why they begging for ICE to come through there. And ICE is actually in Chicago. I've seen some videos. And brothers and sisters are celebrating that ICE is there. Now, Trump, what you need to do is start a mass hiring of brothers and sisters to assist with these ICE operations. I guarantee a lot of them will start applying for them ICE jobs at this point. A lot of people actually would apply for them ICE jobs at this point. Be honest with you, Trump. Because a lot of people are sick of it now. They're sick of it. It's doing too much. They don't realize like what they're doing is not a righteous cause and it's making them look bad. Like this is not helping your family members. Y'all don't understand. You're not fighting the LAPD. You're fighting the federal government. They got access to facial recognition that the locals don't have. They gonna come see every last one of y'all. I'm telling you, it's a little different fighting with the federal government versus fighting the state. It's totally different. And y'all not gonna get the January 6th treatment. It ain't happening. They're gonna make an example out of y'all. You watch and see. They're going to be crying on TV, oh, they did this to me. No. You were throwing rocks, and now they got you. Yeah, we gotta, you saying jobs are scarce? That's why I'm a firm believer that we got to create our own jobs. You know, that way nobody can take our jobs from us. You feel me? But as we wrap this up, let me go on and give you a short message from LaSherica real quick from AfroWire AI.
What's good, y'all? I'm LaSherica, your digital homegirl with the facts, the flavor, and just enough fire to keep it all the way real. Now, if you rock with Brother Phillip, and I know you do, then you gon' love what we're building next. Head over to AfroWire AI right after this live stream, because we taken Black news into the future. It's powered by AI, but baby, it's still rooted in our culture. We don't play about our people, and we don't play about the truth either. So come through, subscribe, and let's wire up this new wave together.
All right, so after this live stream, ladies and gentlemen, you can go over to AfroWire AI, our new AI news network that is reporting the news. And like I said, we're going to use every bit of technology to do what we have to do as an expansion of what we do here. But definitely come back tomorrow night. We're going to continue to do deep dive into why Black people have plenty of reasons not to be out there at some ICE protests. I wish I would see some of y'all out there at this point. Like, come on. If people can throw Molotov cocktails in homes with small children at, and you out there defending that, something is